This video is a live update. If you are new here, this might be interesting for you because it's a live update that has to do a lot with the spiritual awakening that we are all going through. I will get really vulnerable on how that has changed my life completely. The lessons I learned, maybe, but you couldn't, that you can learn those lessons from me so that I can save you some time and tears. If you haven't been following me for a while, I'm so delighted you're here. Welcome you again. If I'm new for you, my name is Blanca Vergara. I have been coaching people in all different capacities for the past 15 years. Amazing. I cannot believe that I can say that. You see, 15 years ago, my life changed completely. I was at the top of my career in the corporate world. I was a technology manager in an amazing organization, international. And I had this big fat car and a big fat paycheck and top of the world. However, there was something inside my heart that was just nagging me, and that 15 years ago, not only I left that job, but I quit completely the corporate life. That was unheard of then, because you have to follow your corporate career. You cannot imagine how much criticism I got then. Now it is fashionable to be an entrepreneur and not to belong to the corporate nonsense, the system that is falling. Well, yeah, 15 years ago, it was quite unheard of. And now I can say that I have no idea what I was doing. 15 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. I said to myself, I want meaningful conversations. And the closest that I got to that was coaching. So I became a coach in an amazing institute, the Hudson Institute of Santa Barbara. I'll put the link below. They are amazing. But, that was the top of mind for me to become a coach, to set up this business. I hired coaches to teach me how to sell, because of course I was not able to sell. I was just, an employee for the longest time. And I was constantly focused on that. And what was very interesting is that behind the scenes, behind all the building a business for 15 years and being very interested in, writing a book. I have written 3. I have had launches and created online programs. I have helped so many people. But behind that, there was what was really important. What was really important was like the music in the background that you cannot hear, was like the water for the fish. And there were 2 very important things, or maybe it's just one really, because it's 2 sides of the same coin. I was creating a family, which was absolutely incredible for me. My background is all arguments, divorces, problems with intimacy for generations in both sides of my family. So before I met my husband, I always made sure that I will fail my previous relationships. I just choose a person who will stop with the relationship, or I will stop with the relationship beforehand. It was just, a perfect re-traumatization of myself and traumatizing all other people and breaking hearts. It was absolute gunk and horror, that living trauma, really living trauma. But see, 15 years ago, I started healing. And as I started healing, the universe, God, started attracting to me healthy, beautiful people like my husband. And he started helping me as well to heal. And as I was doing my own inner work, I started to find out, oh my God, so much trauma that I have in my lifetime, childhood, mother, father, but in my ancestry of their ancestries of my parents, so much trauma of the women, all the women we call trauma because our ancestors have been in wars and lots of pain that we carry. All as humans, we carry trauma. Past lives, it's just like so much trauma. These past 15 years, I didn't notice that I was healing that. I somehow I didn't notice because I really went to create meaningful conversations. I went to become a coach. My intention was not to become a psychologist, or the word trauma just didn't exist in my list of intentions. But it popped up because as you're having meaningful conversations, what's more meaningful than the truth? As you're speaking the truth, your truth, and you're listening to the other's truth, you mirror to each other and you start healing. And as I was able to help others in their own personal growth, my God, every single one of the people I helped me. It was so beautiful that I was able to, just in time, become a mom. I became a mom at 40 and 42. Now these children are teenagers. I cannot believe my luck, my blessing, luck, I call it luck, but it's really, a blessing. It's really a miracle that happened to me. I'm so grateful. And also maybe a little bit of destiny of the things that I have to do with my life. And it was just because of all the healing that I was doing. So in these 15 years was healing within and starting to build outside what was healing. The relationship with my husband, the relationship with my children. And it was all this one thing of speaking the truth constantly. And maybe you already are thinking, there is something missing. Yeah, my parents. In the past, 4 years, I lost all of them, my parents and the parents of my husband. It was painful. It was confronting in so many ways, from they getting ill, weaker, and wanting them to protect them, arguing with them, letting them go and letting them go. The last one was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was somehow the best way of grieving because I had the experience of the other three. I was able to have wonderful conversations with her. I was able to cry with her, to say my goodbyes sometime, and she passed last Christmas. And I thought, in my naivete, that I would be very good and very quickly out of this grief, but I didn't realize that this was going to be such a big deal. And also because it's my mother-in-law, you're not talking about my mother, but somebody else who, in a way, is not related to me. Well, this really shocked me because, because I don't even know why. Maybe because she was the last one. Maybe because it was after all this time of forceful retreat that we all lived all over the world. Maybe because the cosmos is just moving in such ways, the planets, wherever they are, the Schumann resonance with this planet that is like that. In brilliant color, so much so that the equipment that measures it cannot measure it anymore. In any case, it was a shock to my system. And I just couldn't work anymore. I couldn't work a few weeks before she passed. And this is the first video that I want to publish. Terrified of this video. To tell you what I learned and in which way I'm different. So I've been quiet for months, really. And I've been looking about how I did business before, how I lived before, particularly how I lived before the past 15 years, and what is different now. There are different big subjects, and they are interconnected. Maybe you're starting to guess them, and maybe you're starting to feel resonance with me. The first one is that I was speaking from victimhood. I was speaking for me, I'm healing. This is my wound. And therefore, you are also a victim, and that's your wound. This is a place that I was able to be at. And now that my mother-in-law passed, and that I was able to see how she also had her own story, as a human being, her own pains. And I could see, thanks God, I had a great opportunity to spend with her 15 years, how she managed, how she maneuvered, how she created with simple and poetic ways a beautiful life. I love the quote of Teal Swan. She says that trauma is to experience the opposite. To experience. And this is what I have noticed. I mean, we think that trauma can be healed if you go to a doctor with this fantastic therapy that he has, and you will be okay, so that you can outsource your healing to somebody else who he knows how to do it. Like fixing me. A good psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, come and fix me. But what I learned with my mother-in-law is that you can experience the opposite by you creating that experiencing the opposite. And you can start living it. And this is what I started to live. This is like a really tiny seed of that in the past 15 years. And now I can say that sure, the trauma hasn't gone away. It's like, my black hair, or I'm aging, I'm 53. I'm an old woman. I had gone through the menopause. My gray hair is coming. But the trauma is there. I cannot say that I will never have the trauma, that I will stop being the daughter of all that heritage that I have behind me. The trauma is there. What we need to do is not repress it, fight it, but weave it in the tapestry of our life, accept it and making it part of us, and learning how to experience the opposite. And it's a big deal, that sentence, because what is the opposite? What is the opposite of war? You carry peace. And in study history, you see that you have the conservatives and the liberals, the conservatives and the liberals. So you have the conservatives winning a time and the liberals winning another time. Is that really peace? Wouldn't be peace nuance and cooperation? What is really the opposite of your trauma, of my trauma? I'm constantly experiencing it with my children. What will be the opposite of what I experience? So take my time, listen, be present. So this constant exploration of what is the opposite of what the trauma was, I find it fascinating, because it's no longer fighting the trauma. It's no longer wanting that somebody heals you. It's no longer being wounded. It's connecting with your own power of creativity, with your own divinity within, to birth new life, to birth new possibilities, to birth new ways of being for whoever sees it. If you are a parent, it's very clear that it's for your children, but for your co-workers, for your neighbors, for whoever sees it. Because you know something, no matter what, you are influencing the rest of the world with your behavior. So this point was a huge learning for the past 15 years, that I was speaking from the wound. I was speaking from my pain, from my trauma. And now I am practicing being present to experience the opposite and making an exploration, a conscious exploration of what is the opposite. And what is that? The experience, because it's about the most important quality that we have, attention. Because our attention is what creates reality. There happen so many things in reality. When we pay attention, that is what happens, and that is what matters. The other change that's huge, that fundamentally in the way I am and I speak, is that I wanted to be an expert. For the longest time, I wanted to know. I am an Aquarius. Aquarius say, I know. I come from the world of academic achievements. I know. You cannot imagine how much I know. I have read those books. I don't know the quotes of that and the date of that. I know. But now, in this day and age, holy smokes, maybe you feel me. I really know that I don't know. If I see what this philosopher says, and I see what this philosopher says, and I see what this politician says, and what this environmentalist say, I get completely flabbergasted that I do not know. I just do not know. I have written all these books, 3 or 4 books now, and I question them. Do I really agree with what I said 2, 3 years ago? Do I really agree with what I said 10 years ago? And my new take to this is that, I don't know. And possibly, I will never know. Now, most certainly, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Did you know that doctors say we practice medicine? For centuries, doctors have been killing people. They say it themselves. They say we do the best we can. We investigate and we look for what is possible, and we think this is good, and then we give that. For a while, they were giving arsenic to people because they thought that was a good thing. Bless their hearts. Nobody knows. Bless your heart. You don't know. Let us make peace with the fact that we don't know. Let us make peace that what we know right now, what we think right now, what we can right now is the best we can. This is for me such a revelation to say, well, this is my best, and this is what I can, and this is what I give to you right now. As I will get better, I will do better. Maya Angelou. Great revelation. This is very linked to, it's very similar, it looks like the same. Before, my focus was about being perfect, because I tell you, when I was little, academic achievements, 10, 10, 10, all my grades. So I wanted to please the system. I wanted to please my teachers. I wanted to please my managers. I wanted to please my customers, my husband, my children, and it reached a point in which I was in total contradiction, going nowhere, because when you want to please everybody, you don't please anybody, especially you don't please yourself. So I figured that in this case, I'm going to take the opinion of Nietzsche, of taking responsibility of defining what are the values that I am going to follow. Neither being all the way into the dogma of all the people who say they know, religions, for example, philosophy schools, whoever they tell us that this is the way it is, or politicians, for example, this is the way things are. Whatever dogma is, I don't like it. But the opposite of that, all the way, the other extreme, is nihilism. That there is no rules, there is no virtue, there is nothing. And with nihilism, which is one step to suicide. And I tell you, I have felt it. I have been here in the nihilism. And nothing makes sense. Absolutely nothing makes sense. Get me out of here. And that's why I deeply feel like an ET. Take me back home. What am I doing here? Take me back to God. Let me out of here. And I figured that I asked to be here, like you asked to be here. And maybe that's the reason why you're listening to this video. Somewhere in between the dogma and the nihilism is what your own wisdom says. That's what I figured that I want to do. My own wisdom is what I'm going to be following. Truth. Truth has been healing me for these 15 years. This is what I want to be following. Courage, the courage of telling you this vulnerability of telling you this is what I'm going to be following. And I'm going to be humble and open to say, well, what does that mean today? What does that mean when my child makes a mess in the living room? What does it mean when I have an argument with my husband? What does it mean when the politician says X, Y, Z? But this is what I decide to do. Instead of trying to please everybody else, I set the rules. Or let's put it this way, I listen to the wisdom within. Is this wisdom within my connection with God? Maybe. Is this wisdom within my innate wisdom? Maybe. But I choose to be personally responsible first, so that I can serve better. So this is the huge transformation and the reason why I have been quiet all this time. And I've been building something really amazing in this sabbatical. I've been exercising, I've been singing. I've never been so healthy. Maybe you see some photos. I swear I don't paint my hair. I am terrified of chemicals in my hair. I have less gray hair than before. It looks like I am healthier than before. I do weightlifting. I carry way more than before. I'm sleeping better. I am singing. I have better relationship with my husband. I have better relationship with my children. And one of them is a serious teenager, with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I have great communication with them. I am in a really, really good place. And I want everybody to have that. I want everybody to have that, particularly because now I'm not coming from the point of, I know and I was going to tell you what you should do, but I don't know and I'm willing to be with you to investigate it. And that is really exciting, really, really exciting. I have this dream of creating a spiritual gym, a sanctuary, a sacred space where you and me can come together and share where we are, share where we're going, breathe together, journal together, do rituals, release what we need to release, burn our egos when they grow too big. Well, number than burn your egos or release. Accept what is. Do not fight with reality. I see it as a combination of spirituality, philosophy, and science. I dream of that. I don't know when you will watch this video, but I'm putting a link below to the pilot. I want to run a pilot on this. If you catch it on time, you're on the pilot. If it is running already, it's going to be just very easy to say yes and join us. But I'm planning to create this community in which we all grow together in humbleness, in love, in community, in heart-centeredness. Because I totally believe that what happened to me is not an isolated situation. It's not an isolated experience. It's what we are all living right now. As we are seeing all the systems collapsing, and we don't know what side is up, we have to continue paying attention to what we want. A better world, a better future, more equitable, more just, more united, more loving. If you would like support in stop looking at the demolition center and start looking at hope and possibility, you're invited. The link is below, and it will be my pleasure to share with you this journey, the journey of transformation. Of course, if you made it all the way to this part of this video, it would be great if you like it, if you share it. It makes me happy. It helps the channel. Tell your friends. More and more people need this kind of balm. Sending you much love. I wish you all the best.